I still hear your voice at night. Make me feel alright. Jump right back into my life. Cause we could dance the night away. Make me love you through the haze. Ain't no need to be afraid.
You're almost asleep. The room is completely quiet. Your eyes go heavier. Your thoughts begin to fade. Then, bang! A deafening explosion. So loud it feels like a bomb went off inside your bedroom. You jump awake. Your heart is pounding. You look around. Nothing. No broken windows, no smoke, no sound. Everything is exactly as it was. A few nights later, it happens again. This time it sounds like a gunshot or a door slamming shut. Sometimes a loud scream or a burst of electricity. Yet nobody else hears anything because the sound never happened. It existed only inside your brain. Scientists call this exploding head syndrome, one of the strangest sleep phenomena ever discovered. But why would your brain create an explosion just as you're falling asleep?
Yeah, I have. Let's dive into it and see what we can learn. First off, I love how vividly you set the scene. That jolt, that confusion, it's exactly what people describe. So what exactly is exploding head syndrome?
Despite the frightening name, nothing actually explodes. There's no damage to the brain, no bleeding, no injury, just a sudden, incredibly loud noise that exists only in the mind. People describe it as a thunderclap, a gunshot, a cymbal crash, a door slamming, even an electrical blast. For some, there's also a flash of light or the feeling of a whole body jolt. The episode usually lasts less than a second, but the fear can hang around for minutes.
Okay, so it's basically a hallucinated sound that happens as you fall asleep. Is it the same thing as sleep paralysis or hypnic jerks?
They're related in that they all occur at sleep transitions, that hazy border between wakefulness and sleep, which scientists call the hypnagogic state. Hypnic jerks are sudden muscle twitches you feel as you're nodding off. Sleep paralysis is when your body is still locked in REM at the wrong time. Exploding head syndrome seems to be another misfire during that transition, but specifically involving the parts of the brain that process sound.
What's actually misfiring? Do researchers know which brain areas are involved?
We don't have a perfect answer yet. The leading idea is an abrupt burst of neural activity spreading through the auditory pathways, from brainstem nuclei up toward the auditory cortex. Some studies point to the reticular formation and thalamus, regions that regulate sleep-wake switching. Instead of a gentle shutdown, there's a brief electrical storm that the brain interprets as a loud sound. Because the sound is generated internally, no one else hears it.
Are certain people more likely to get this? It sounds terrifying. I can imagine lying awake after the first episode, afraid to sleep.
It is terrifying, but the reassuring part is that it's generally harmless. Prevalence estimates vary. Some surveys suggest a sizable minority of people will experience it at least once in their life. It seems more common during periods of stress, tiredness, or irregular sleep schedules. People who pull all-nighters, go through heavy stress, or shift work may be at higher risk. There are also occasional links reported with migraines and certain medications, but overall it's not the same as an epileptic seizure or a structural brain problem.
So if it's not dangerous, what do you do when it happens? And how do you prevent it?
First, if the experience is new, intense, or you have other concerning symptoms, prolonged confusion, weakness, or if you think you might have had a real seizure, see a doctor. But for typical cases, the best treatment is often reassurance and sleep hygiene. Regular sleep schedules, reducing caffeine and alcohol before bed, managing stress with relaxation practices, and getting enough sleep can cut down episodes. Some people find short-term help from medications when it's frequent and disruptive, but that's a decision to make with a clinician. If it happens, remind yourself it's a false alarm from your brain. Try slow breathing, sit up for a moment, turn on a dim light, and allow your heart rate to settle before you try to sleep again.
It's wild that your own brain can stage something so convincing, a real explosion that never occurred. That raises a bigger question. If the brain can make you hear a bomb, what else can it invent while you sleep?
Exactly. Our sleeping mind is a creative machine. Hypnagogic imagery, dreams, sleep paralysis hallucinations, and even false awakenings are all examples of the brain filling in gaps when sensory processing gets messy. Sometimes those creations are poetic or harmless. Sometimes they're eerie. The key is understanding that sleep is not just turned off. It's an active, shifting state where perception and reality can temporarily part ways.
Before we go, any practical takeaways for listeners who might be worried they've experienced exploding head syndrome?
Yes. 1, you're not alone. Many people report this. 2, it's usually harmless, though scary. 3, prioritize consistent sleep, reduce stress, and avoid stimulants late in the day. And 4, if episodes are frequent, severely distressing, or come with other troubling symptoms, talk to a healthcare professional. It deserves a careful look. Sleep is where the brain tries on stories. Most of them are harmless. Exploding head syndrome is just one of the louder plots it can improvise.
Thanks for walking us through that. Next time you hear a phantom explosion, you'll know a little more about the backstage mechanics. And if you enjoyed this episode of Brain Glitch, we'll be back with more strange, ordinary, and beautifully human ways our minds surprise us.
Welcome to today's episode. Sit back, relax, and let's explore something strange your brain can do.
What are we digging into today?
So, why would the brain suddenly create a sound that never happened?
A sound that never happened? Like an imaginary explosion?
Exactly. To understand that, we need to look at what happens as you fall asleep.
Okay, sleep. It feels so simple. You close your eyes, you blink out. But I guess it's messier than that.
Sleep doesn't arrive all at once. Your brain gradually switches from wakefulness to sleep. One network slows down, another takes over. Usually the transition is seamless. You never notice it.
So what's the glitch?
Sometimes the timing goes wrong. Scientists suspect the brain's auditory system may briefly fire all at once. Instead of processing a real sound, it generates one itself.
And it's not a polite little beep, right?
No, it isn't a whisper or a quiet noise. It's something so intense your brain interprets it as an explosion, a thunderclap that wakes you in an instant.
That would be terrifying. Is this common?
Strange part, many people experience it only once. Others may have several episodes through life. Some never hear it at all.
Do researchers know why it happens?
Not exactly, but a pattern appears again and again. Stress, anxiety, irregular sleep, exhaustion. They all increase the chances.
So it's less a broken brain and more a brain struggling to switch states?
Yes, during that tiny transition, reality can briefly become distorted. The auditory system misfires, and the brain treats the false signal like a real external danger.
If your brain can create a sound powerful enough to wake you, could it create other things, entire experiences while you're asleep?
That's the fascinating question. Dreams, nightmares, sensations that feel completely real, the line between sleeping and waking may be far thinner than we imagined.
But is this dangerous? Exploding head syndrome sounds pretty awful.
Fortunately, no. Despite the name, it doesn't damage your brain. It doesn't increase stroke risk or mean you're losing your mind.
Still, in the moment, it must feel real as anything.
Absolutely. Your brain doesn't distinguish between a sound it hears and a sound it creates. An imagined explosion can feel just as real as a real one.
That's a little unnerving. Reality being what your brain believes is happening.
Perhaps the strangest lesson is that reality isn't simply what happens around you. It's what your brain believes is happening.
So every night, as you drift off, billions of neurons quietly change your state of consciousness. Most nights you never notice, but sometimes a tiny error becomes a thunderclap.
An explosion, a sound that never existed physically, but that commands your attention anyway.
If you ever wake convinced you heard a massive bang, what should you remember?
Remember this. The room was silent. The danger wasn't there. It was one brief electrical hiccup inside the most complex machine in the known universe, your brain.
And maybe that's the biggest brain glitch of all. The loudest sound you'll ever hear might be one that never happened.
Thanks for listening to Brain Glitch, where every mystery begins with a story and ends inside your mind.
See you in the next glitch. If this episode shook you awake, don't worry. You didn't lose your mind. You are just witnessing a tiny misstep in sleep's choreography.
Before we go, a quick after-credits teaser. Next time, imagine reaching to scratch an itch on a hand that no longer exists. You can feel every finger, every movement, even unbearable pain, but the limb is gone.
How can your brain feel something that isn't there? We'll unpack phantom limb syndrome in the next episode.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and like our video. We hope you enjoyed today's podcast, and we'll be back with more engaging content soon.
I still hear your voice at night, make me feel alright. Jump right back into my life. 'Cause we could dance the night away, make me love you through the haze. Ain't no need to be afraid.